Studio Steve! We've been looking everywhere for you! We need your help!
Whoa, pod children, calm down. What's wrong?
Well, we'll listen to season 1. I've got my podcast sounding great, but now I want people to listen to my podcast.
Yeah, same with me, Studio Steve. How do I find listeners and grow an audience? There's so many podcasts out there. How do I stand out?
Don't worry, children. I know just the person to call. Really? Oh, great. Thanks so much. We're in a real pickle here. Okay, pod puppies. Don't worry.
Studio Steve, what's that in the sky?
Wait, look how fast that bird is flying.
Silly children, that's not a bird. That's Amy Woods from Content 10X.
Hey.
Amy, thanks so much for getting here so quickly. And all the way from Manchester? Wow, that was quick. These podpreneurs are concerned about reaching an audience and finding more listeners for their podcast. And I know that content repurposing is just the thing to help them. So could you please tell us what content repurposing is?
Yeah, sure. So when we talk about content, firstly, before we even add repurposing on the end, anything that we create where we're trying to share a message with our audience. So really the way that we choose to communicate with people, whether that's creating a video, writing a Facebook article status, an Instagram post, a podcast, whatever it is, like everything that we create where we're trying to bundle up a message and communicate it in some ways is content. And then the repurposing side of it is looking at how you originally tried to communicate that message. So how did I communicate this? Well, I chose to create a video. So my content was video and I had a message in that video. Repurposing is, so how can I communicate that message in a different way, basically? So how can I go from sharing that message and my thoughts and ideas in a video and go to, say, a podcast or to written content? So it's all about communication, basically. It's just about taking a message and finding creative ways to communicate it in a different format, but being really mindful of why you're doing it, not just copying and pasting, but where is this audience? What do they expect to see? If it's social media, what's the platform? How would I change a message from Instagram to be suitable for LinkedIn? How would I change a message for LinkedIn to be suitable for my website? So it's just about being really thoughtful about how you communicate ideas and then communicating them in different ways.
That's great. Can you see now, pod puppies, how this can really help you? Now, Amy, if you don't mind me asking, what about people who are in the planning stages or beginning stages of their podcast? I can see them wondering if this is really something they need to be concerned about. Could you share some ideas about why it might be important?
I think it's really important because there are just so many benefits to repurposing content. So firstly, increasing your reach. So putting lots of time and effort into having all your eggs basically in one basket. So if you're putting everything onto YouTube or everything onto Apple Podcasts and that's it, it's kind of like, it is like putting all your eggs in one basket because you're just going to reach only people who are on that platform and happen to find you. So with a little bit extra work, you can just reach more people. Also being found as well. So there's SEO benefits of repurposing content, particularly if you are creating audio content and video content. Then, how do we find anything these days? We go to Google basically and we Google things. So whenever we think of anything, we go straight to Google. Now, Google bots that crawl the internet and bring back the results, they're good, but they're not brilliant at finding any kind of audio and video content because they're mainly looking for written content. So at the very least, I think anybody starting out, you must think of ways that you can at least create some written content so you can be found as well. And then if you're creating content for a business and you want to reach people and you want to convince them that you're the person to go with and you want them to take some action, there's also this thing called the rule of 7 where they say that people need to experience you and kind of get exposed to you 7 times before they're going to actually take any action. So if you think about that from a repurposing perspective, then if somebody is, listens to your podcast, but they also, read that post that you wrote, and then they saw that you mentioned something quite similar on Facebook, and it's all very aligned as well. The message is very aligned. Maybe they see you on Instagram, similar kind of message, but tailored for the platform. And they are a subscriber to your email list, let's say, and they get an email where you're talking about a similar thing too. It's all repurposing. You did one piece of content and then you wrote an email about it. You did some social posts about it. You're going to start getting to that rule of 7 where people are going to start taking action, and they're going to start seeing you saying those same things again, saying it more than once, and that's going to lead to conversions as well. And you're gaining authority whilst you're doing all of this as well, because the more content that you're creating that's all aligned and you stand for something, it's similar messages, you build authority. You're building authority. You're becoming known as the person who communicates on those topics, who has those points, and people will start to think, yeah, I'm seeing this again and again and again. I know who this person is. I know who they stand for. And they start to warm to you, which is what content repurposing is, isn't it?
Wow, okay, so there's some great food for thought for you, pod children. Now, Amy, before you go, could I quickly ask you about branding? And why might branding be an important thing to consider at the beginning?
Branding is so important. So when I mentioned before as well about the rule of 7 and people need to be exposed to someone for 7 times to start to take action, you have to know that it's the same person each time. Like, you have to be recognizable on all of the different platforms. When you are creating, different, say, visuals, like, say you said, like, your podcast artwork, and then YouTube, you'll have thumbnails, and Instagram, you might have graphics and so on. Just really do put some thought into having consistency. So at the very least, putting your logo, having a logo and making sure that you always put your logo onto the content that you create, and then thinking about the colors that you use, and just being very, very consistent, because you want to be instantly recognizable. That's so important. So create content that fits for the platform, particularly, say, social media. You can just create one graphic and post it onto different platforms, but it's smarter to actually create it in the right size for that platform, square for Instagram and portrait for stories and things like that. And you can use tools to do things like that, resize things, but just making sure that whilst it's fit for platform, more importantly, like, it's recognizably you, because there's no point in doing all of this, but people don't realize that, that post that I read on LinkedIn, and now I'm seeing this video on YouTube, it's the same person. If they're not connecting the dots, it's a lost opportunity of everything we were saying about building authority and all the rule of 7, because they don't even know it's the same person. So important to just stop and think, what are my brand guidelines? I really recommend just sitting down and working out, what are your brand guidelines? What are your brand values? How do you want that to come across in your content? And at the very least, what's my stamp? How do people know it's mine? The colors, the logo, and just putting that extra time in.
That's all such great info. I just think you're the best, and thank you so much again for helping us today. How can I tell other podcasters and content creators how to get in touch with you?
Well, I really appreciate that, and I'm just happy to help. And yeah, if anyone wants to get in touch, then just get in touch with me through the website content10x.com, and yeah, keep on repurposing.